You see, there are 6 types of Mephits. Each one of them is a combination of the elemental planes. We used to believe that there were 4 elemental planes and 8 quasi-elemental planes. But this belief has widely been scrubbed in favor of our current 4-planar concept. Now, the elemental plane of fire and the elemental plane of water connect here, which is where we would find the steam Mephit, whose steam breath is known to cause extraordinary burns, and they are able to speed up their bodies in order to become harder to hit. A version of the blur spell for those of you who have taken Illusion Magic 2. Now, the elemental plane of water connects here with the elemental plane of earth, which is where we would find the... Anyone? Can anyone identify the Mephit that would occur here? And for bonus points, their spell and what their breath ability would do. Anyone? Roll an Arcana check.
Hey there, creatures, and welcome to Encounter This, a podcast exploration of the creatures from Dungeons & Dragons and the lore that surrounds them.
Hello there, creatures, and welcome to another episode of Encounter This, episode 79. It feels like crazy that we're getting to these higher numbers. I, of course, have brought you along. My name is Freeman, cool as ice Mephits, Icen, and with me, helping me, supporting me, pulling my hand up as I fumble up this mountain is the mountaineer James Up in Smoke Mephits Kids. Kid, no S on the end of that, who will be taking us through, you guessed it, Mephits. If you want to follow along, you can open up your monster manual on page 215 through 217. This is a 3-page creature. Well, series of creatures. This is going to be fun? Interesting?
It's going to be a lot of stat block.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun. Stat block suite in a single episode? Is that how we do this now?
A little bit, yeah. So Mephits aren't a particularly complicated creature, and there's not a whole lot throughout the editions to even kind of touch on. So this might be our fastest ever 6-creature episode, because we are going to cover 6 creatures.
All right, let's beeline through it.
A little bit of primer. So Mephits are imp-like creatures that are native to the elemental planes. So in 5th edition, we only have 4 elemental planes, but there are like conduits connecting the planes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of where Mephits come from. So they prefer to live on elemental planes, but they can make their way to material planes. And they make homes in locations similar to their composition. So, for example, a magma Mephit would most likely be formed in a volcano.
Gotcha.
And they come in 6 flavors and 5e. Mm-hmm. All of them are a mixture of 2 of the different elements.
Right.
So we have dust, which is a mixture of earth and air, and they're drawn to catacombs. They find death fascinating.
Okay.
We have ice, which is a mixture of water and air. They are aloof and cruel. Magma is our earth and fire, and they sweat lava and have poor social skills.
Okay.
Yeah, some of these are weird. Mud are a mixture of water and earth, and they're complainers, attention seekers, and will just straight up beg for treasure.
Okay.
Smoke are lazy liars, and they love to mock and mislead other beings, and they're a composition of fire and air.
Right.
And our last one, air and water, is steam Mephits. They are bossy, hypersensitive, and constantly hiss steam. And they are the self-appointed kings of the Mephits.
Oh, okay. Self-appointed.
Yeah. So there were many, many more in previous editions. So I'm not sure if you're aware of the cosmology and how aggressively it's been reduced, but I have a photo here of the inner planes as of 2nd edition. So this is a spherical object in this diagram that's been broken in half. The very top is positive, the plane of positive energy. The very bottom is the plane of negative energy.
Okay. Oh, this is neat.
and running on all four sides is earth, fire, water, and air.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see in this diagram, each one of those also has like a river flowing to it. For example, on the positive energy plane between water and earth is ooze, and it mirrors in the negative energy plane.
Mm.
There's magma and smoke and ice. And so these are what are called inner planes, or quasi-elemental planes.
Mm-hmm.
So these rivers, along with these four quadrants between fire and negative, and earth and negative, and water and negative, and air and negative, are all known as the quasi-elemental planes. So we have smoke, ash, vacuum, salt, dust, ooze, magma, and ice on the negative side. And on the positive side, we have lightning, radiance, steam, and mineral, in addition to magma, ooze, smoke, and ice.
Neat.
And
this
you
is
can kind of
actually
see
pretty
how
cool.
they work on the spherical diagrams on the right. And this will all be posted up on Instagram.
Yeah, this is very akin to when we covered illithids and doing that primer on traveling between like the crystal spheres or whatever they were called. Just reminds me of that. Like you travel between worlds and on the phlogiston and stuff, but everything was always in these like invisible, nigh and impenetrable spheres. And then here we have these other planes and a representation also as a sphere. I think it's really cool. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I actually really love this diagram, and I'm a little upset that they simplified to the degree that they did in 5e.
Yeah.
In previous editions, there's been a Mephit for every elemental plane that I can think of aside from vacuum. I have not seen a vacuum Mephit.
Okay. So there's literally every other one but a vacuum.
Yeah, and there are at least one that doesn't exist in these particular elemental planes because they are from a demi-plane.
Okay.
So through the editions we have, there's a little chart in our show notes here, which is probably the easiest one to identify. But it says what edition they are and what Mephit they are. I'm not going to go over each and every one of them, but for 5e, dust has been in 2nd through 5th edition. Ice has been in all 5 editions. Magma has been in all 5 editions. Mud is just 5th edition. Smoke is 1st, 2nd, and 5th. Steam has been in all 5 as well.
Gotcha.
So a lot of these were from 2nd or 3rd edition. Yeah. And the one that doesn't exist in its own plane is the mirror Mephit.
Oh, so they didn't do a vacuum, but they made a mirror one that doesn't have a place to exist.
Yeah, so the mirror is from a demi-plane. It's not from a quasi-elemental plane.
Okay. Oh, man. It's cool artwork, though.
Yeah, some of the artwork's really incredible. So here's like a melange of Mephits from 3rd edition. These are just straight up elemental.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. Cool.
And then one of my favorites is the Steam from 4th edition.
Whoa, that's neat. Okay, it's worth saying now that, so you did say earlier they're imp-like creatures.
Yes.
But for listeners who don't quite get that, they're just sort of small and devilish looking generally. Like, especially in the 5e art, they're very like long nose, like sharp kind of like features, like pointy ears and stuff like that. But they're all a very like one color, and they have these little wings, and they very, very much embody their elements.
Yeah. And the 5e is a return to earlier editions. So like here's a magma from 1e where you can see those goblinoid imp-like features.
Yeah.
Where they kind of went away from those in 2e.
Hmm.
So like here's a 2e mist Mephit, which just kind of looks like a comic book character.
Oh yeah, it does. Neat. Yeah, that's some cool art there.
Yeah, some of them are really incredible. And there's some really weird ones that we don't see anymore, like the ooze Mephit I was a big fan of, and the radiant Mephit, and there's a salt Mephit from the quasi-elemental plane of salt.
Cool.
All are really interesting, but for the most part, those 2 and 3e Mephits who don't exist anymore really only played a part in Baldur's Gate 2.
Okay.
Beyond that, we don't really see them. And that's kind of it for Mephit lore in D&D in total. Like each Mephit has their own little lore. Mm-hmm. Like I said, Smoke are lazy liars and love to mock. Like each one has their own little paragraph about that. And then each Mephit has a particular spell that they get.
Okay.
Which we'll touch on in the stat blocks because there's no reason to be touching on, the ones from previous editions.
Is it more or less the same for like the previous ones? Like everyone, they all just have a little bit of personality and that's all the detail they give you?
That's it. It's like 2 sentences in each wiki entry.
Okay.
Which is the same in the 5e rulebook. It's 2 to 3 sentences about their composition and a little bit of personality quirk.
Well, given the vacuum method doesn't exist, I am just going to say to listeners that if you wish to create a vacuum method, we'd love to hear about it. And I suggest the personality of it's constantly having to clean up its kids' rooms and is very annoyed, because it's vacuuming everywhere.
Yeah, that's fair. I would have went with somebody who refuses to split the check based on what they ate and just wants to split it evenly, because those people suck.
Because I serve so many people that do that, I think they think they're making it easier for the server, which is strictly speaking true, but it's also technology these days. It's like 2-button press. It just, if you did your job right, you can just split it by the seats, no problem.
But if I just had a pint and a salad and you want to split your burger and cocktail and you want to split that 50-50?
Yeah, no. Yes. Oh, you're just having a salad today. I guess I'll have the lobster. I'll have the surf and turf. Please.
It's okay. We're going to split the check.
We're going 50-50. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Oh, that's good.
There is a variant rule included in 5e you can attach to any Mephit, and it's once per day, you have a 25% chance of summoning 1d4 like Mephits to act as an ally, and those Mephits remain for 1 minute or until the summoner dies or dismisses them. So your Steam Mephit could just, you roll a D100, and if you get 25 or lower, you can summon 1d4 more Steam Mephits.
Crazy. Is this like an action they take, or what triggers this variant, this die roll?
Oh, this would be an action, yeah.
Okay. That's still pretty cool, though. Only 25% chance, but damn, if you're fighting multiple Mephits and they can all do that, and they all nail the roll, you could be in big trouble.
Yeah, and anytime I get to roll a D100, I'm happy.
Yeah, they're a good time.
We don't use them often enough in 5e.
We need more like elaborate, crazy tables to roll on.
100%. Like even most of the random encounter tables are D20 based.
And there's one shot you've been running. We have a player that is the wild spirit or the wildfire circle the wildfire druid, and he just found a table online for animals. Every time he summons his spirit, he rolls himself a D100. And what did he summon? A fiery dolphin.
A fiery dolphin. Yeah,
that was too funny. Good times.
And I'm sure there are prominent Mephits in other books, but there weren't any references. And I clicked through each individual Mephit subtype because each one has their own page for whatever reason. However, there is one that we know of and that we have met, and that is Sopo from Chapter 5 of Rime of the Frost Maiden.
Yep. I remember him. If I remember correctly, you gave him a very thick New York accent.
I did, yeah. I really leaned into the Long Island there.
Yeah, given the descriptors of aloof and cruel, I think he did that pretty well because we did not trust him.
No,
he was so casual, and he just like clearly wanted us to die.
Yeah, he kept trying to like lead you into traps and stuff, and like get you to make way too much noise.
He made it so obvious. Just by his aloofness. Yeah,
they're not particularly intelligent creatures. So.
Like, oh, Sapo, just shut up. He was fun though. That was good. That's standout one for me.
I had a lot of fun role playing him. But that is it for Dungeons and Dragons. So normally, this is where we would dig into the cultural lore. But since they're imp-like creatures, that's really just code for a divergent strain of imp. And since imp is their own creature under the devil category, I didn't even bother. Yeah,
I remember talking off mic about that. We were talking about what creatures we're going to do in the next little bit. And you were like, oh, they're just imps, so it's going to be a big one. I was like, no. Double check, quick. Double check. You might be wrong. So I'm glad you didn't go down the cultural lore imps by mistake.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I probably could have, because Devils is going to be either massive. A nightmare suite a full year, or we're just not going to do it as a suite.
Yeah, Year of the Devils.
A decade of the devil, I think, is probably more accurate at what, 26 episodes a year?
Yeah, jeez.
The daunting decade of the devil. So that brings me right to, I guess, my favorite part of the episode, which is the
drinking part.
Time for a beer.
Which Mephit do you think would drink a delicious black male stout?
That's a really interesting question. Because I can't imagine most of these creatures having digestive systems.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go with the smoke Mephit because they're kind of dark and smoky.
I was thinking that too, but I thought maybe, the mud Mephit wouldn't have any issues with some liquid being poured on it. It would just kind of add to the mud.
That's true. Kind of creamy too. Yeah.
If the dust Mephit drank one, might turn into a mud Mephit.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
There's your homebrew idea for the day. Pour beer on a dust Mephit to make it a mud Mephit.
See what happens. Get your alchemy jug out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, mechanics. Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Right. First and foremost, we need to cover that all of these creatures have the elemental nature, as in they do not require food or sleep, and that is not included in the stat blocks, but it is included in the descriptive text. So read your descriptive paragraphs.
Mm-hmm. That's usually the same case for like undead stuff too. They add it in the lower bits instead of the stat block.
Yeah. The second is that they have a death burst ability, which is essentially the same as the breath weapon, except that it affects all creatures within a 5-foot square.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of going over the mechanics of that individually every time, just assume that it's the same as the breath, and we will get to the breath.
Okay.
They are all small, elemental, neutral, evil creatures. And I have built us a fun little Excel table here. So if you look at our show notes, it should be relatively easy to follow. So going down the line, we will start with the Dust Mephit. They are a 1/2 CR with an AC of 12, HP 17. 30-foot fly, 30-foot land, which is the same with all of them unless we state otherwise. They are vulnerable to fire, immune to poison, and immune to being poisoned, which will also stay the same throughout each Mephit, the poison and poison immunity.
Mm-hmm.
They have 60 feet dark vision. They speak Auran and Terran. They do have a death burst ability, and they, once per day, can cast the spell Sleep.
Okay.
They have a claw attack, which is a +4 to hit, 1d4 +2 slashing damage. And their breath weapon is a DC 10 dex save, 15-foot cone. And if you fail the dex save, you are blind for 1 minute. It is a blinding breath.
Oh, 1 minute's a long time.
1 minute is a very long time. However, with this one, you are allowed to repeat the saving throw at the end of each of your subsequent turns until you succeed.
So it's not likely to be a full minute.
No, and 10 is a very low dex save.
Yeah. Although, would you rule that it's no longer, if you're doing it at the end of your turn, is it a con save? Does it specify that?
No, it does not.
I would rule that it would be con after you've been blinded. You're trying to shake off. You're not dodging anything anymore with a dex save once you've been blinded.
I see where you're coming from. I would still leave it as dex save because you're trying to rub the sand out of your eyes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's both. I mean, potato. Like it doesn't really matter at DC 10.
Fair enough. How about you just do a strength save and gouge your own eyes out?
I'm here for that.
I'm here for the solutions.
Yeah. Next one in line is the Ice Mephit, also CR 1/2, AC 11, HP 21, and they are vulnerable to both bludgeoning and fire, and they speak Auran and Aquan. They have a death burst. They also have false appearance, so when still they remain indistinguishable from the terrain. In this case, it's icicles, which I'm sure you are well familiar with there, Freeman. Their spell is once per day they can cast Fog Cloud.
Yep.
Their claws is a +3 to hit, and it does 1d4 +1 slashing, plus 1d4 cold.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a Frost Breath, which is a DC 10 dex save, 15-foot cone, or 2d4 cold damage.
All right, then. Straightforward.
Very, very, very straightforward. These creatures are pretty well designed, all things considered.
I was just thinking that, like, as simple as they are, it looks like a lot of thought went into every little detail here. Even just like there's a variation on those immunities and vulnerabilities that we're going to see all the way through, but they fit the element or combined elements of each one quite well. You know, the languages suit, the spellcasting suits, everything lines up so far.
Yeah, so the next one is the Magma. It is the last CR 1/2, and the AC is 11, HP 22. They are vulnerable to cold. They speak Ignan and Terran. They have a death burst. They also have false appearance, and their spell of the day is Heat Metal.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a possibly very significant spell.
None of these spells are a slouch. They're all really tight.
Yeah.
Except for arguably sleep, but I don't.
A single target sleep can really mess you up, but awaking from sleep is pretty easy.
Yeah. Their claws is also +3 to hit, 1d4 +1, and 1d4 fire. They have Fire Breath, which is a DC 11 dex save, also a 15-foot cone, and they do 2d6 fire damage. So just a reminder, same with the Death Burst. So when they die, they do 2d6 fire damage to every creature within 5 feet. That same DC 11 dex save. Next is Mud. This is our first true variant of Mephit. It is a CR 1/4. AC 11, 27 HP, so that's our highest HP. Their speed is 20 land, 20 fly, and 20 swim. So we've seen a 10-foot reduction in both the land and the fly, but they gain that swim speed.
Mm-hmm.
They have no vulnerabilities. They speak Aquan and Terran. They also have Death Burst and False Appearance, but the Mud Mephit has no spell casting. Instead of claws, they hit with their fists, which is a +3, and they do 1d6 +1 bludgeoning. And they have Mud Breath, which is a DC 11 dex save, and it's one creature within 5 feet. They are restrained for 1 minute.
So I was wondering why they would be a quarter CR versus a half. That lack of spell casting and that breath weapon is not doing any damage, so I think that explains it. Although they do have the highest HP, but still, it's not by much.
Yeah, there's no extra immunity there as well. It's just poison and poisoned, but there's also no vulnerability.
Right, yeah. And now that you've mentioned it a couple times, just want to double check that the listeners recall, because I'm sure we've covered it before, but we definitely did. False appearance just means like, they can hide within a certain thing, and you cannot discern them from it. So like the Mud Mephit can just be in mud, and you would never know it's there as you pass by.
Indistinguishable, yeah.
Yeah.
Next one is Smoke Mephit, which is also CR 1/4, AC 12, HP 22. We are back to the 30 feet land and fly speeds. They have no vulnerabilities. They are immune to fire as well as poison and the poisoned condition. They speak Orin and Ignan. They have Death Burst. They do not have False Appearance, which is batshit to me.
That's weird. Yeah.
Their spell is Dancing Lights, also kind of weird. They have claws. We're back to claws. They have a +4 to hit, 1d4 +2 slashing damage.
Mm-hmm.
And they have Cinder Breath. So it's a DC 10 dex save, 15-foot cone, and blind for 1 round.
Okay.
So the creature fails it as blind to the end of the Smoke Mephit's next turn.
So, blind's not good, but it's only 1 round. And it's only Dancing Lights. That's certainly the weakest of the spells that are there. So
yeah.
That sort of makes sense why it's quarter CR instead of half.
Yeah, and then we have our Steam Mephit, which is a 1/4 CR, 10 HP or 10 AC, 21 HP. They are immune to fire as well as poison and poisoned. They speak Aquan and Ignan. They have Death Burst. They also do not have False Appearance, which is again just batshit insane to me.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they have their spell is Blur, which is wildly more significant than Dancing Lights.
Yep. Sure is.
+2 to hit with their claws, 1d4 slashing, and a flat 1d4 fire.
So these ones should definitely be a 1/2, not a 1/4.
I think so.
Yeah, definitely. Great spell.
Yeah, and their breath is a Steam Breath. It is a DC 10 dex save, 15-foot cone, and 1d8 fire damage.
Mm.
And all of those that do damage are half on a success.
Okay. That was the fun chart of Mephits.
Yeah. That's Mephits.
My thoughts. I appreciate that the ice Mephits are vulnerable to bludgeoning. I like that little tidbit, and I don't have too much trouble with most of it. Other than I'm with you on the False Appearance for the dust, smoke, and steam Mephits, and it gives me an idea about giving it to them. And then also giving them some sort of ability that they could basically shift in and out of incorporeality, and that'll be part of their False Appearance or some such, which would make them much more powerful. But I don't know how I would quite do it in details. It's been a while since we covered something incorporeal, but I love the idea of having a non-undead incorporeal creature. They're extremely rare, and I feel like this is a missed opportunity to do that, at least as a variant.
Yeah, that would increase the CR by quite a bit.
Quite a bit, yeah. But hey, let's have fun with it.
Yeah.
I think these creatures are pretty neat in the idea that like you can kind of do that 4E minion thing that you like, where everything just has 1 hit point. You don't they don't have to be 1 hit point thing, but these are like one of those creatures where there's a chance, even with that variant summon rule, that you can be fighting multiple, and so put a whole bunch against, or a potential whole bunch against a higher level party. And like let them feel kind of powerful, taking them down, and there's all these different things happening, different breath weapons and death bursts and stuff like that. It could be a really neat encounter, and then maybe it's topped off with like these bulked up incorporeal Mephits.
Yeah, that'd be a really cool swarm encounter for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like these creatures. I feel like they just missed the boat a little bit, and I think honestly these might be a product of how early they were released in 5th edition. So like there weren't a whole lot of earth spells, and that's probably why the Mud Mephit doesn't have a spell, because there wasn't very many around. And obviously they're not going to give this little flying Mud Mephit Earth Glider, some other
right. I mean, they could have
that.
given them Mold Earth, which is just like a cantrip. It's not that special, but at least it'd be something.
It wasn't around back then, though.
It wasn't around. Oh, it was Elemental Evil Player's Companion.
I think so, yeah.
It was, yeah. Son of a bitch.
Because that's what I was thinking was Mold Earth, but then I was like, no, I don't think that's in the player's handbook.
Yeah. We could give them the 6th level spell Move Earth.
Perfect.
Why not?
Done deal.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, it's one of those moments where you're like, I wish you would just do a cool errata here, guys. Why have you abandoned this creature, this Mud Mephit? The poor guy needs a little assistance.
In their defense, they may have. I just don't know where the erratas are.
That's fair, yeah.
Nor do I ever look at them.
This is also true.
Yeah. But you're absolutely right. The fact that, like, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it. I like that they each have this little thing that's kind of their own, whether it be a vulnerability or the Mud Mephit swim speed. But I really wish it had a spell, and I really wish they all had false appearance. I don't see what value there is to not giving the smoke false appearance, or the steam, or the dust. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, yeah. I feel like it's just because you'd have to have an exceptionally thick cloud of each in order to hide like the fact that they actually do have some physical shape. Whereas like ice kind of makes sense. They probably fold themselves into a certain way, and then they just kind of create this straight icicle looking feature. Magma and mud, they can literally like be almost entirely covered more easily by magma and mud, and just have a tiny bit of them, actually poking out, but you just can't tell the difference. So I kind of get it, but I don't think it's good enough to, warrant not giving them the ability. I feel like it's lazy. Just come up with something cool, and like the incorporeality or something.
Or like a particulate form or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I get what you're saying, but I get what they've done. But ultimately, it could be better.
Yeah, and I mean that's fine. Like we can easily help them out and add stuff like that to our own games. That's not a big deal. The difference between a CR1 quarter and a CR5 is negligible to me, though.
Pretty much, yeah.
You know what? I think, now that I'm thinking about it, I think Thorn Whip would have been a good Mud Mephit spell.
Yeah, that's not too bad, actually.
And just like reskin it so it's like this whip of mud as opposed to like an actual thorn.
I'm here for it. Mud Whip. Isn't that a Pokemon move?
I mean,
Mud something.
Maybe.
Mud Splash?
Really, Mud Kip is a Pokemon.
Oh, no.
But the moves I can't keep track of. There's so many, and I've played every major installment.
I gave up a long time ago.
Yeah, that was the right choice. That was very much the right choice. Pokemon peaked on the 3DS. Don't at me. Sword and Shield are not that good. But that's Mephits.
That's Mephits. All right. I know you've used them for Sapo and Rime of the Frost Maiden.
Yeah.
I've talked previously about having created a series of scenarios surrounded by false appearance. And these were absolutely in one of those. It was like a room that was divided into 3. One was like ice. One was like stone, but like had magma like spewing out of like a well or something, and then one was mud, and it was like they were all colliding with each other on the floor, and the whole thing was about just like having these different ones like pop out and attack. But then I think I had like I can't remember how it was, but I think I had a system where it was like if you killed one of the ice Mephits or knocked one of the ice Mephits into the magma area, it would turn into a steam Mephit.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, it's something along those lines. And so it was like the whole idea was to have these 3 elemental parts of the room be able to have and create all 6. So it could escalate to something quite dangerous. It was playing fast and loose with the rules, but that was the whole point of the series. So
yeah, those were fun. These are yet another creature that may make me want to run more lower level stuff. Like,
yeah,
I know that no player wants to play first through realistically 3rd, if not 5th level. Like everything kind of before 5th really kind of is less interesting. But for me as a GM, I really like low level play. I really like that you're just starting out, you're 1st to 5th level, because I can still use stuff like a steam Mephit without having to completely redo it.
Right. Yeah. I think it's like one of the things they got right is like creating cool ideas at lower level for creatures. But one of the things they didn't get right was, PCs at low level. So it's like most of the table is not having that much fun. They don't have a whole lot to do. And like on a mechanical level, I should say, they can still be very creative. And then we also have too many low CR creatures. Some of them are really neat, but it's like there's so many of them at like CR1, and it's just and below. It's just an absolute mess of them. And like we constantly bring it up. We're disappointed by anytime especially you get those groupings, like when you do gnolls and you do orcs and you do goblins or whatever. It's like there's just they have a smattering of stat blocks. They're all super low level. Like, just need, we need a balance for everyone to have some enjoyment. And like, you shouldn't have to rework these guys just because your player's a level 5. You shouldn't have to use like 20 of them just because your players are level 8. They should give you a little more variance in level and CR and stuff, I think, across the board. I feel like that's like a book wizard should do is, hey, here's a bunch of low-level creatures, but higher-level versions, go. Like, we're going to just do this massive book dedicated to, higher-level versions and reskins.
Yeah, that's actually kind of what I'm expecting out of Flea Mortals. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I am not.
It's Matthew Colville's, at this point, upcoming Kickstarter. It's a 5e monster manual.
Okay.
So I'm expecting a lot more higher-level creatures out of that.
That's cool. I'm sure he'll do great work.
Yeah, well, I backed it, so we'll have a copy of it floating around.
Sweet.
And maybe we just do like a review of that book after we've had a little bit of time to look at it.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
What about you, listeners? Do you have a way that you would beef up the Mephits? Because that seems to be the only thing we ask you for. If you do, or you have a custom vacuum Mephit homebrew that you'd like to share with us, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook at EncounterPod or Instagram at Encounter.pod. You can find our previous larger episodes where I've covered way too many creatures in one, like Slatty at EncounterThis.ca, that hosts the entire ad-free back catalog of our shows. And if you really like this and you want to inspire us, or I guess a better use of the word, force us to do a creature that you have your heart set on, you can find us on patreon.com/EncounterPod. $5 a month will get you a handwritten thank you letter and access to our show notes. And for $10 a month, you can suggest that creature you so sorely want us to rip to shreds and tell you isn't very good, because that seems to be what we do here. That being said, I actually really like the Mephits. There's not a whole lot I would change, other than the false appearance and giving that Mud Mephit some sort of spell. At this point, Mold Earth works just fine. But I looked it up and it is from Elemental Evil. So
yeah.
But that's it for this week. Thank you for listening to this much drier, but on the plus side, much shorter episode.
You know what? Scrap the episode. What? I just found out salt's a mineral. You can't have two. You can't do that. You can't have a mineral method and a salt method. It's just bullshit.
You didn't know salt was a mineral?
Well, no, I kind of did. I just wanted to have a silly ending. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, like your vacuum methods to be, I sure took the air out of that argument.